He uploaded his first songs to YouTube with no name, no face, no bio, no label, no interview, no explanation. Just 3 songs dropped into the internet in the middle of the night under a channel with no identity attached to it whatsoever. No one knew who he was. No one knew where he was from. No one knew if he was one person or 5 people or a studio project or something else entirely. And within weeks, the entire music underground was obsessed. That mystery was not an accident. That anonymity was not shyness. It was the first move in one of the most calculated, most disciplined, and most fascinating rises in the history of modern music. This is not the story of the Weeknd, the global superstar. This is the story of Abel Tesfaye, the kid who ran away from home at 17 with nothing, slept on floors, dropped out of school, and built one of the most iconic music careers of his generation entirely on his own terms. The dark past he turned into art, the industry that tried to own him, the face surgery rumors the whole world cannot stop talking about, and the one relationship that broke him so publicly that he turned the wreckage into a billion-dollar album. This is the full story, all of it. It starts in Scarborough, Ontario, one of the roughest neighbourhoods in Toronto, a place that does not produce pop stars, a place that produces survivors. Abel Tesfaye is born to Ethiopian immigrant parents who brought nothing to Canada except the will to build something from scratch. His father leaves when Abel is young. His mother works constantly to keep them afloat. His grandmother raises him for large portions of his childhood, while his mother works double shifts to pay the bills. He grows up between 2 worlds, the tight-knit Ethiopian community his family belongs to, and the harsh street reality of Scarborough outside the front door. He is deeply introverted, quiet, observant, the kind of kid who sits in the back of the room and watches everything without saying a word. But inside that quiet, something is burning. He discovers music early and it becomes the only language that makes complete sense to him. Michael Jackson, Prince, R. Kelly. He absorbs them all obsessively. He studies how they construct atmosphere, how they use silence as much as sound, how the best music does not just entertain, it pulls you somewhere dark and private and real. By 17, he is done with the life that is being mapped out for him. He drops out of high school. He takes his share of the rent money his roommate trusted him with, and he disappears. He moves into a small apartment in downtown Toronto with his best friend, Lamar Taylor. No job, no plan, no safety net, just the absolute unshakable certainty that he was built for something the world had not heard yet. His mother does not speak to him for 2 years. The apartment is barely livable. They sleep on mattresses on the floor. Money is almost non-existent. They survive on almost nothing. But every single night, Abel is creating, writing, recording, experimenting with sounds that do not fit any existing category. Dark R&B layered over hazy production that feels like 3 a.m. in a city that is trying to forget something. He calls himself The Weeknd, named after a weekend he left home and never came back. He deliberately drops the second E, partly to avoid copyright issues with a Canadian band already using the name, and partly because the misspelling feels right, incomplete, slightly wrong, like the music itself. In 2011, he uploads 3 songs to YouTube anonymously. House of Balloons, What You Need, The Morning. No name attached, no face attached, nothing. The blogs detonate immediately. Who is this? Where did this come from? Is this one person? Is this real? The anonymity does not hurt the music, it amplifies it. People are not just listening, they are investigating. They are obsessed with the mystery as much as the sound. Drake, already the biggest name in Toronto hip-hop, hears the songs and reaches out personally. He posts about The Weeknd before anyone knows who The Weeknd is. That cosign from Drake sends the underground into overdrive. But here is what matters most about that moment. Abel does not sign to Drake's label. He does not hand his career over in exchange for the exposure. He takes the attention and keeps his independence. At 20 years old, with nothing in his bank account and mattresses on his floor, he understands that ownership is everything. He releases 3 full mixtapes in a single year completely for free. House of Balloons, Thursday, Echoes of Silence. All of them free, all of them untouchable in quality. The music press is unanimous. This is something genuinely new, something that does not sound like anything else happening in music at that moment. The content of those mixtapes is deliberately dark. Drug use, complicated relationships with women, moral ambiguity, nothing polished, nothing safe, nothing designed to be palatable for mainstream radio consumption. He is not trying to be liked, he is trying to be honest. And the honesty is so raw and so specific that millions of people feel it in their bones. He eventually signs to Republic Records, but on his own terms, with his independence protected, with creative control locked in. He does not become a product of the label. The label becomes a distribution vehicle for what he was already building himself. Kissland, Beauty Behind the Madness, Starboy, My Dear Melancholy, After Hours, Dawn FM, album after album that does not repeat itself. Each project a completely different sonic and visual world. Each one proof that he is not chasing trends, he is setting them and abandoning them before anyone else can copy them. But then comes the part of his story that the music alone cannot contain, the face. Somewhere between Starboy and After Hours, Abel Tesfaye's appearance begins to change, dramatically. The internet notices. Then the internet cannot stop talking about it. His nose, his jaw, his overall facial structure shifting in ways that go beyond weight loss or aging. He never directly confirms surgical procedures. He stays silent on it publicly, but the conversation will not die because the visual evidence across years of photographs is stark and undeniable. And in 2022, he appears at the Super Bowl halftime show with a completely bandaged face. A visual statement so bold and so deliberately provocative that it splits the internet completely in half. Is it art? Is it commentary on celebrity culture and the pressure to look a certain way? Is it a response to the public obsession with his appearance? Is it all three simultaneously? He never explains. He lets the image sit there and breathe and mean whatever it means to whoever is looking at it. That is power. The power to provoke the entire world and say absolutely nothing in response. Then there is Selena Gomez. Their relationship, on and off and painful and public, becomes one of the most talked about in the entire entertainment industry. When it ends for the final time, the devastation is audible. My Dear Melancholy drops in 2018, and it is 6 tracks of raw, unfiltered heartbreak, so specific and so personal that no one needs to ask who it is about. Call Out My Name, I Was Never There, Wasted Times. The album streams over 400 million times in its first week. Heartbreak as a business model, pain as a platinum record. He takes the most vulnerable moment of his personal life and makes it into something the whole world buys. Then 2020 arrives, and After Hours makes him the biggest pop star on the planet. Blinding Lights becomes the longest charting song in Billboard Hot 100 history. It spends 57 consecutive weeks in the top 40. A record that had stood for decades gets shattered by a song that sounds like it was recorded in 1987 and beamed in from the future simultaneously. The Super Bowl halftime show in 2021, performed entirely without celebrity guests in an empty stadium during a global pandemic, is watched by 96 million people and called one of the greatest halftime performances in the history of the event. The anonymous SoundCloud kid from Scarborough performing alone at the Super Bowl. So what is the real story of The Weeknd? It is the story of a kid who ran from everything comfortable and built something extraordinary from nothing, who understood that mystery is more powerful than exposure, who kept his ownership when he had no leverage to demand it, who turned his darkest moments into his greatest art, who changed his face while the world watched and refused to explain himself to anyone. He never asked for permission. He never explained himself. He just uploaded the music and made the world come find him. And the world did exactly that.